So I want to take a look at some of these ballot measures. Apparently 10 states has abortion as a question. 10 states has abortion as a question. So let's talk about the 10 states that have abortion as a question. There's 10 states here. This is CatholicNewsAgency.com. So they're saying, hey, guys, don't do abortions. Now, whereas I am pro-choice, I do wonder if by getting the right to an abortion, if that's going to lead to the right to all of the bills of rights. Right now, I've been making a huge deal about the right to a grand jury. You cannot get a felony put upon you unless a grand jury indictment is issued against you. That's the Fifth Amendment. So when they talk about a right to an abortion, are they talking about Amendment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10? Because I know, just politically speaking, well, we're saying that we care about women's issues, and so therefore, since we care about women's issues, we're going to get the women's right to vote. Are they pushing for a grand jury indictment for felony charges? Are they saying that we need to adhere to the Bill of Rights? Are they saying that the freedoms that are listed in the Bill of Rights, including Amendment 9 and 10, plus also the 27, there's 17 amendments past number 10, and then there's even freedoms in the preamble and the body of the Constitution. Are we talking about all the freedoms that are listed in the U.S. Constitution? And then my idea is that you get all the freedoms that are listed in your own state. So you combine the freedoms that your state has versus the freedoms that are listed in the Constitution. So that's my, I guess 2 cents about the abortion. Also, I kind of wish that you have some sort of middle ground, because when it comes to a right to an abortion, okay, women, you get to choose when and where you want to have a baby, when you want to have the baby. That's okay with me. Now, when I'm saying that, do you want abortion up to 9 months? Do you think you're allowed to be a Susan Smith? Do you think you're allowed to put your kids into a car and drown them? I would like to hear that you are against murder, okay? I'd like to hear that you're against maybe even partial birth abortion. You waited until 8.5 months in order to get taken care of. If you're in a conservative state and you had a whole bunch of shit in front of you, okay, I could understand that. So I would like to hear some kind of middle ground too. And I'd like to hear that, you're not just saying you have a right to an abortion, but also everybody has a right, to all the other rights that we have that's in the Constitution. The strict constructionist, the originalist, when it comes to the Dobbs decision, technically they're right. There is no abortion inside this document, but there's also no right to an immunity. So they can't kind of pick and choose what they're saying. So there is some genius to the thing. All right, so that's kind of my 2 cents. Like I said, I'm pro-choice. So, yeah, if you get it taken care of between months 1 through 3, even 1 through 6, that's you're not ready for it. I can understand that. A lot of pro-life people are actually some of the most anti-life people out here. Oh, you're pro-life, huh? Except for when the child is born, and then except for animals, and then except for people in foreign countries. But you're pro-life, right? You're okay with the genocide in Gaza, but you're pro-life, huh? You're okay with killing 1 million people in Iraq, but you're just so damn pro-life. You're just so damn pro-life, huh? You don't have any pets, you don't have a dog, you don't have a cat. When you say you're pro-life, are you just saying you want control over people's bodies? You just want to control? So I think the man should be a part of the decision. I think that makes sense. If you were together and you were trying to make a baby and then it happens, but then you have a falling out or an argument. I don't know. A lot of times people say, if a man and a woman want to have a baby and she's 8 months pregnant, she gets into a car wreck, or a drunk driver hits her, didn't they just kill 2 lives? I would think so. I'm a husband. My wife was 8 months pregnant. We wanted the kid. We were trying to have the kid. They had ran her over. She dies, and then the fetus that is 8 months dies too. So, are you saying that that's not 2 lives that had got killed? I would disagree with that. So, like I said, I'm pro-choice. So let's get on with it. So I went ahead and wrote some of the states down. You have Maryland and New York and Florida and Arizona. Let's go ahead and just write these down because we will check these out on Election Day. So let's see, is that 10? It looks like 10. So Florida, Maryland, New York, Missouri, Nebraska, South Dakota, Montana, Colorado. I wrote Kansas. That's not Kansas. We're not in Kansas anymore, huh? We're in Colorado now. Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada. So those are the 10 states that have abortion on the ballot. Now, what exactly is the language? Not for sure. They have each explanation right here. So let's go ahead and just read theirs. Arizona will be allowed to decide whether to add the so-called right to an abortion to the state constitution. This is genius. California has a right to an abortion to the state constitution. So whereas the federal government says, wait a second, it's not in the Constitution. You don't have a right to an abortion because you combine the state rights with the federal rights. Well, in California, you have a right to an abortion. If Arizona passes this, you have a right to an abortion in Arizona. So that's Proposition 139. They're saying the state will not be able to restrict abortion until the point of viability, which is about 24 weeks of pregnancy. So 24 weeks, that's up to 6 months. That's what I was saying from before. So, you know, I would vote in favor of that. Colorado advocates are on both sides. They're saying something, haven for late-term abortionists. Yeah, I thought Colorado already decided this. The pro-abortion measure, amendment number 79. Do I write the numbers for all these? I don't think I have to. Proposition 139. Arizona, Prop 139. I don't think I have to do that. I don't know. It'll make my chart a little bit better. It would enshrine in the state constitution the state laws already in place that allow abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. So that's just, you know, that's an extreme right to an abortion. I would probably vote in favor of it, but only because I lived in a bunch of red states. So 9 months. 9 months of abortion. I mean, that's, people always say, hey, that's not what they're saying. I've met a lot of psychotic people. Would you do abortion 9 months in 1 day? What if they're only born for a day, right? I mean, that's when you divide it, right? That's when it comes out. The partial birth abortion is where they pull almost the fetus, baby, almost all the way out, and then they suck the brains out right before they pull the head out. So the hands, the feet, and then they suck the brains out. The damn baby's almost fully formed. I mean, this is why I feel like I like to hear some middle ground. When Donald kind of threw that back at Kamala, I wish she would have answered instead of, well, you're not going to answer the thing. Abortion clinics are currently unregulated in Colorado, posing a severe health risk undergoing the surgical procedure. Amendment 79 will ensure no regulations are ever placed on abortion clinics, even compared to heavily regulated hospitals, because that would be considered impeding abortion access, the bishops wrote. This is occurring considering the number of surgical abortions that occur in Colorado each year, even on healthy mothers with healthy babies. Yikes. So this is the Catholics, right? So let's see, Florida, the pro-abortion group Floridians Protected Freedom successfully gathered enough signatures to place its right to an abortion initiative constitutional amendment on the November ballot. The proposed language of the measure, Amendment number 4, would add a right to abortion before the point of viability to the state's constitution if 60% of the voters have to say yes. And so that would allow for abortions later in pregnancy if a woman's doctor deems it necessary to end the life of the child. They said viability, so that's, you know, that's basically 6 months also, right? Maybe I should just write viability. If the due diligence in me wants to read the actual language of the ballot and not just these, but this is the opposition, so I think they're going to try to paint it up in the worst light possible, and in a way we kind of get exactly what Supreme Court, let's see, pro-abortion amendment. They said 46% of Florida voters supporting it earlier this month, which is below the 60%. Why do you need 60% in order? I mean, 50% is a majority. So it's like you need a super majority. So Florida's bishops call the proposal an extremely grave amendment. Extremely proposed legalizes full-term abortion with no protections. Not really. Viability isn't full-term. So Maryland. The proposed Maryland right to reproductive freedom amendment, or question 1, will cement an abortion right in the state's constitution. A lot of these are doing, amendments to the state constitution. So state constitution, right to abortion. Does it say, what kind of language does it say? Parental notice is required for a minor to have abortion, but critics say that requirement is easy to circumvent. There is something about that. There was a woman that hid her pregnancy in New Mexico. When then she had the baby, she threw it in the dumpster because she was just too damn scared to tell her parents about the thing. And then later on she wanted the child. So it's like, goodness gracious, make up your damn mind, Missouri, Amendment number 3, certified to appear on the November ballot after garnering thousands of signatures. Prohibit any regulation of abortion. This is Missouri. Missouri's got a ton of amendments. I didn't know their ballot initiative process was actually so progressive and awesome. Right after Colorado legalized marijuana, there was Amendment 71, where they said, okay, you need 60% to get anything passed. Marijuana already passed, so that means if you wanted to get marijuana off the ballot, now you got to get 60%. It's almost like the reactionists were just saying they're against democracy. Well, we don't want the damn people of Colorado actually making the damn decisions. Then who do you want making the damn decisions? So Amendment 3 in Missouri, it would prohibit any regulation of abortion, including regulations designed to protect women undergoing abortions, and prohibit any civil or criminal recourse against anyone who performs an abortion or hurts or kills the pregnant women. That seems a little extreme. All right, we'll get you an abortion. Whoops. I mean, there was a woman that had got an abortion out of state, I want to say in Georgia. So she left Georgia, got an abortion, and then there was some kind of disease that she had succumbed to, and it's eventually going to kill her. So it's interesting that they're saying that the doctor who does it, no liability, no matter what. It seems like maybe some regulation, just making it willy-nilly. Just, hey, you want to kill the fetus? You want to kill that little baby inside you? Hey, we'll go ahead and take care of that. If it happens to get you too, whatever. Who gives a shit, huh? Who gives a shit? So that's Missouri Amendment number 3. I like the idea of no regulations because you have a right to an abortion. So that's essentially the rule. But there's always exceptions to the rule, so we can establish the rule and have a couple of exceptions. I mean, I don't think a few exceptions will negate the right to the abortion. I mean, to say that a doctor doesn't even have liability if they end up killing the damn woman, the mother, I mean, that seems to be, generally people will say that they're against abortion except for rape, incest, or life of the mother. Those are the 3 exceptions, and those are good exceptions. Extreme constitutional amendment that legalizes abortion at any stage of pregnancy with no protections for the preborn child, even when the child is capable of feeling pain. Okay, Montana ballot issue number 14. We're not really getting too into the weeds with the language of each one of these things, so let's just hop over here to these issues and we'll just talk about how they word it here. This is stateside.com, which I kind of noticed they didn't say some of these issues right. It's interesting how when people don't agree with it, they'll say, wait, state choice, school choice, instead of just saying, are you in favor of school choice, yes or no? They'll say, are you in favor of taking the public school funds and giving it to private schools? Is that what you're in favor of? I'm in favor of vouchers, and people should have a right to educate their own children how they want to. And if we could get some vouchers and send our kids to private school, like a Sudbury Model School or a Summerhill School, that would be fucking, even Waldorf. There's just every alternative school that's out there, because it has an overall philosophy, not just I'm the boss, shut the fuck up and do as I say. Because it has an overall philosophy, I would say all alternative educational schemes seem better to me than just a totalitarian hierarchy. South Dakota, let's see, 18. South Dakota's got, 8 different questions here. Male pronouns, citizens over 18, work requirement. Let's see here. Constitutional right to an abortion within the state and would provide a legal framework for the regulation of abortion. So that's saying, that's Amendment G, and that's saying that there is some regulations, for abortion, but pro-abortion, right? So that's South Dakota. Let's check out Nebraska. Nebraska. Bill Brasky from Nebraska. Are you now? Yeah. Nebraska. I'm not seeing where it says Nebraska. How come stateside isn't talking about Nebraska? There is constitutional right to an abortion here on Ballotpedia. Are we seeing Nebraska? It looks like we got Nebraska, right? Yeah, 2 of them in Nebraska. Initiative 434 and 439. Provide for a state constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability. Prohibit abortion after the first trimester, except in cases of medical emergencies or if the pregnancy is the result of sexual assault or incest. So it looks like Nebraska has 2 competing initiatives, 434 and 439. So 439 says fetal viability, so up to 6 months you can have an abortion. It's a state constitutional right. And then it's the 434 is prohibiting abortion after the first trimester, except in, cases of sexual assault, incest, or cases of medical emergencies. So those are the 3 exceptions. So in a way, Nebraska is actually going to specifically tell us something very specific, because you couldn't pass both of those things, right? One of those things would have to pass, and then the other one would have to fail, because prohibit abortion after the first trimester. So it's saying, can you get abortions from 0 to 3 months or 0 to 6 months? But then they also have the exceptions too. So it would just be interesting to see which one of those 2 go. So these are kind of competing. Right? There's a 3-month one and a 6-month one. And then there's the ones with the exceptions. So we'll find out where people are at. Are you saying abortion's okay up to 6 months or up to 3 months? So that's more of an honest conversation. That's what's actually on the ballot in Nebraska. Let's take a look at Nevada. Question 6. Constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability. So Nevada is doing 6 months too, and also constitutional right. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So constitutional right, question 6. Then New York is the last one that we need to take a look at, and then we'll talk about it, on Election Day. Proposal 1. Provide that people cannot be denied rights based on their ethnicity, national origin, age, or disability, or sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, pregnancy. What? They can't be denied rights. So they're kind of saying abortion is on the thing, but they're saying, like, look, don't discriminate against black folks, white folks, old folks, young folks, man or woman, and don't discriminate against pregnant women and their reproductive health care and autonomy. They're saying it really weird. Why wouldn't they just do, state constitutional right for abortion before fetal viability? Why wouldn't they just do it that way? New York is saying it weirdly. But I guess if you get the right, you get the right. Just because they said it weirdly, it's kind of, I will write weird. Because they're saying, don't discriminate, but then you're discriminating against the fetus, right? Don't discriminate against pregnant women who want to get abortions. Okay, so that's New York. So there is 10 states. This is saying Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Montana, let's see, Missouri, Montana, MT, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, and South Dakota. So it's saying also that there's 10 states, but 11 different initiatives, right? So there is one that restricts abortion to just 3 months, except for those 3 exceptions, which are generally what people say. So there you go. Let's repeat again one more time. The states that has abortion on the ballot: Florida, Maryland, New York, Missouri, Nebraska, South Dakota, Montana, Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada. So we'll see how that turns out on November 5th. I'm kind of curious about all the initiatives on November 5th.